Okay, so I've been meaning to make this video for a very long time now. So let's talk about it. Who is Baron Samedi? I hope y'all have your popcorns and snacks ready because we are gonna get into it. Baron Samedi, as you can see here, is a prominent figure in Haitian Voodoo. He is known as the Roi of the Dead, sexuality, and resurrection. He's often depicted as a tall, skeletal figure wearing a top hat, black tuxedo, dark glasses, and cotton balls in his nostrils, which resembles the attire of a Haitian burial. This appearance underscores his role as the guardian of the dead and the master of symmetry. I don't know if I said that right. English is not my first language. Anyways, as far as death and resurrection, Baron presides over death and is considered the guide of souls to the afterlife. So basically, he decides whether a person is allowed to die or be resurrected. Even his name have a meaning to it. His name is Baron Samedi, and if you speak French, you know that samedi translates to Saturday. So his name is basically Baron Saturday, which is significant because Saturday is traditionally associated with the dead in many cultures. The skeletal figure represents dominion over death and the afterlife. His top hat and tuxedo, which I told you guys before, represents the proper attire for a Haitian burial, signifies his status and power. His dark glasses often has one lens removed, symbolizes his ability to see into both worlds, the living and the dead. Now, this man right here that you see is not somebody that you want to meet, especially not for the wrong reasons. I don't know if you guys remember a while back, there was this white girl that decided that she wanted to practice voodoo. And she got a lot of warnings online because she was like vlogging and blogging about it. And a lot of people was telling her, don't do it, it's a closed practice. She doubled down and said not only that she wanted to do voodoo, she also wanted to summon Papa Legba. If you know, Papa Legba and this guy right here, you don't want to meet them. And so everybody online was telling her, do not do it. Please, like, we're not even trying to gatekeep. We're telling you for your own sake, don't do it. And she responded online, and I quote, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Let me be. So she did what she had to do. She attempted to summon Papa Legba. After she did that, a few days after, she posted that she had met Papa Legba and she was terrified. She regrets doing it. And then a few days after that, she was found unalived in her bathtub. After that happened, there was another lady did some work to find out what really happened to her. And turns out, while she was trying to summon Papa Legba, she accidentally summoned this guy, and he paid her a visit. Allegedly, he's the reason why she isn't here anymore. This is a true story. Y'all can look it up. Her name was Caitlyn Weston, and she was 19 years old at the time. So y'all know how in the scary movies, there's always a scene where somebody's like hair gets dragged, like you see the ponytail go up and something just grabs it and just start dragging them around. That's what happened to Lisa, except Lisa's life wasn't a scary movie. It was real life. So Lisa's Puerto Rican, and for the longest growing up in her household, everybody did brujeria. She had learned the basics of it. She had even learned how to do it. Well, as much as she could learn for a 5-year-old. So it wasn't a surprise when weird things would happen at their house, like all the time. Most of the time, her parents would just tell her to like ignore it. They're like, don't worry about it, baby. We're just working on something. If you see something, just act like you don't see, just mind your business. Y'all know, kind of like how I've been telling y'all to do. So one day, Lisa's mom pulls her to the side and she says, hey, something is going on and I need you to stay at grandma's for a while. I need you out of the house for the next week because we have some cleansing to do. So when you get out of school, go straight to grandma's house. Now, her house was about 5 minutes away from her school, walking wise because she walked home. And grandma's house was about 15 minutes away. So one day she gets out of school, she stops by the store, she gets herself some snacks and everything, and she has to use the bathroom. Now, mind y'all, the walk to her grandma's house is 15 minutes, but the walk to her house is 5. She has her keys, so she decides, I'm just going to stop by home real quick, use the bathroom, and then go to grandma's house. So she walks home, and the moment she gets through the front door, something just doesn't feel right. But she has to pee. So she opens the door and she heads to the bathroom. And on her way to the bathroom, she feels like she's being followed. At that point, she's like, I'm gonna hurry up and use the bathroom and get out of here. She goes, she uses the bathroom, she washes her hands. She starts to head out the door. Now, as she's walking towards the front door, she feels something breathing right on her neck. So at this point, she starts to speed walk to the door. And this is where the scary movie moment happened because something dragged her by her hair back to the bathroom. Like, as she was about to touch the door to leave, that shit said, "Bitch, get back here." And at this point, she is screaming because poor baby, she's 5, she's terrified. She gets up, she tries to run out, except now the bathroom door is locked. So she's screaming her lungs out for help. Luckily, and she didn't know this, but mom was home. She was in her basement at her altar. When she heard Lisa screaming, she ran upstairs, ran to the bathroom, opened the door, and asked Lisa what happened. Lisa told her what happened, and at this point, she starts screaming at Lisa. She's like, "I told you to go straight to your grandmother's house. What are you doing?" Lisa's mom looks terrified, right? And so she grabs Lisa, drags her to the basement with her at the altar, does a ritual with offerings where her and Lisa are constantly apologizing to whatever it is that Lisa was apologizing to. Now, at 5 years old, this didn't sit with her very well. And it was at that moment that Lisa knew that she wanted no parts in what her family is involved with. She wanted nothing to do with brujeria, and she didn't care if that was the family's religion or not. There's one thing that I always promote on my page, and I always tell you guys, is to not ever do love spells. So here's an example of why you should never, ever, ever do love spells. Scary story time. It's raining so bad. Can y'all hear that? This story is from Jamaica. So there's this girl. Let's call her Eliza. Let's just cut it short to Liza. So Liza's in school, and there's this boy at her school that she really likes. He was popular, and his family had money. So she was like, I need that. And everything she tries, like, they're friends kind of, but everything that she tries to, like, for him to see her in that way, it just doesn't work. Mainly because he's a fuckboy, obviously. But she did not care. She wanted him. She speaks to her friends about him. She speaks to her mom about him. One day she's having a conversation with her mom about how badly she really wants that boy. And her mom's friend happened to be at the house at the time. So her mom's friend was put on to all the tea. Now, her mom also wanted her to date that guy because he had money. So her mom is like, "Hey, listen, get him." So they have their little tea session, whatever, and her mom's friend is leaving. And she's like, "Hey, let me walk you out, auntie." And so she walks auntie out. And when they get to the door, auntie was like, "I know a way that you can have that man yours." She's like, "Whatever it is, give it to me. I will do it. I want that man so bad." The friend is like, "If you want that man, do a love spell on him. I will show you exactly how to do it. I'm going to tell you everything you need to do, everything you need to get, and you'll have him, I promise." And she was a little iffy about it at first, but she really wanted that man because he was fun. So she's like, "Bet, what do I need? Like, what do I need to do?" So auntie basically walks her through the process, helps her get, like, the proper materials. Auntie tells her, "You have to get a lock of his hair." She's like, "How the heck am I supposed to get this man's lock of hair? Like, we're friends, but we ain't even that close." Auntie says, "Well, you better find a way and get that lock of hair because that lock of hair is what's going to make him yours." And she's like, "Damn, okay, well, how am I going to get this man's hair?" Thankfully, her and him are mutual, so there was a party going on not too long after that conversation with the auntie. And so she goes to the party. Mind you, she didn't go to the party with the intent of getting his hair. But while she was at the party, old boy got so drunk that he was passed out in one of the rooms. And so she just happened to stumble upon him while he's asleep in one of the rooms. And she was like, "This is my opportunity to get his hair." And so she finds some scissors while this man is passed out drunk. She cuts a piece of lock from his hair. She runs home. She says, "Auntie, I got it. Let's do it." So she goes home all excited. Calls her auntie and tells auntie, like, "I got the hair. Let's do it." And auntie's like, "Bet." She comes over. She tells her everything that she needs to do. They do it together with that boy's lock of hair. So now fast forward to, like, maybe a week or two. This guy is so attracted to Liza. Like, he always wants to talk to her. They even get on the phone now. And shortly, they start spending time together, a lot of time together. And about 3 months later, he proposes to Liza. Now, this should have been her red flag, but girl is in love. She got her man that she been wanting for such a long time. She is loving this. So he proposes shortly after they actually get married. And right after they get married is when things starting to go wrong. Let's call the guy Thomas to make things easier. Thomas's love for Liza is starting to be a bit worrying because now it's starting to transfer into controlling. She can't go outside. She can't go outside wearing this. All of a sudden, she cannot have male friends. And then it turns to no person with the penis can even look at her. He gets really upset. She cannot even have a conversation with somebody that has a penis. He starts to threaten her with cheating, calling her all types of names. And slowly but surely, this marriage is prison. And she is so unhappy. Now, her best friend, who is realizing what was going on, mind you, she doesn't know that Liza did this. Liza kept this in secret because she was too embarrassed to tell anybody that she did a love spell on him. So as she vents to her best friend is always telling her, like, baby, you need to get away from that man. Y'all moved on too quick anyway. Like, you got married to him too quick. You just did everything way too quick. So her best friend sometimes tries to take her outside the house so she can have some peace of mind because it's like prison. And so one day, Liza's talking to Tom and Liza's like, yo, you're becoming obsessive. Like, this is bad. I think we moved things way too fast. My best friend was right. And he's like, what do you mean your best friend was right? And she's like, well, I was venting to my best friend and she said that, you know, we moved way too fast with the marriage and everything. And he goes, oh, really? I knew it. I fucking knew it. I knew that bitch was trying to get you to cheat on me. I knew that bitch was a whore. And you're a whore right with her. Liza at this point is feeling so defeated because how did we even get here? At that moment, she's looking into Tom's eyes and it is not Tom. Like, his eyes just look pure evil. This is not the man she fell in love with. I mean, duh, like, you did a spell on him. She remembers feeling terrified. She's like, I have to leave this man. Like, I don't care how soon we got married. Like, I have to leave this man. And so while he's going off, she's having those thoughts. She's like, yeah, I'm going to leave. And so she starts packing quietly. And he's like, what are you doing? And she tells him, like, I can't do this anymore. You're not healthy. We're not healthy. I need some time apart. Ooh, and Tom did not like that. He starts going off. He's like, I fucking knew that bitch was gonna make you leave me. This is all her fault. She the one that told you to leave me, right? At this point, Liza's not even responding. She's just packing because, like, she is fed up. She's tired. And he's going crazy. He's punching walls. He's throwing things all over the place. And so she calls her parents and tells her parents everything that's going on. Like, she's like, I'm coming home. And they can hear everything going on in the background. So Tom is like, you're really gonna leave me? She's like, look at how you're acting. You're not making this any easier for me. I mean, any harder for me, right? Anyways, when Tom realized that she's really dead ass about leaving, something clicked. And he's like, I bet. He leaves. She's thinking like he finally got the message. So she finished packing her things and she goes to her parents' house. She didn't get any calls from him, texts, nothing. It wasn't until the next day, morning time, that she gets a phone call from the police. The police tell her that they had just arrested him for murdering her best friend. I made a video telling y'all that sometimes when a loi takes over a person, like the loi that they're serving, sometimes they do rituals and the loi takes over. I told y'all that loi be having them put things in or on their vagina. Some of y'all was shocked with good reasons, but I feel like some of y'all were skeptical. So let me show you guys. This is a video of an actual ritual. Look. Didn't I tell y'all? Look at that loi. They got him back there. Look. This is not them, y'all. This is the loi at this point. I don't be capping to y'all, bro. This shit is real. And I love when I find proof. I be so excited to show you guys. Because Blizzy be telling y'all the truth, bro. Anyways, make sure y'all are subscribed to my YouTube channel or following me on Instagram for more content. I really need y'all to blow my Instagram up, though, because there's no way I have 1 million followers on here. And I only have what, 14K on Instagram. That's partly my fault because I kept my Instagram private for a while, but that's over, so go follow me. So part 3 isn't really that much. Basically, she gets a phone call from the police, and they tell her that whole time that she thought he went to cool off or, do whatever, he went to her best friend's house while she was at her parents' house, and he murdered that girl. And after he murdered the girl, he turned himself into the police station. He went in there crying his eyes out, saying, I just did something really bad, and I don't know why I act like this, but I can't stop. So the police arrest him, and that's when they were able to contact her. He ended up going to see him in there eventually, and he did apologize for everything. And he said to her, like, he doesn't understand why he acts this way. He doesn't want to act this way. It's just that he can't help it. It's like somebody else is moving his body. Like he's being controlled by something. And even then, she didn't tell him that she did the love spell on him. At this point, she knows it's her fault. She knows it was because of that love spell, but she would never admit it. It was like a secret kept between her and her auntie. He did end up getting divorced while he was in jail. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This was her story. She says she will never, ever, 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 ever do a love spell ever again because it ended up costing her best friend's life. Make sure you guys are following me on Instagram. It's the little Instagram icon in my bio. Make sure you also subscribe to my YouTube channel because I am going to drop episode 2 of my podcast real soon. So yeah, look out for the next story time. Can y'all imagine never being able to drive again for the rest of your life? All because of a road rage incident? So quick story time. There's this African guy. He just graduated school with his PhD. He's so excited. Everybody's so happy for him. His parents got him a Mercedes. So it's a celebration. Anyways, it's only been a week since he's had his Mercedes. One day he's driving his new car around, right? And as he's driving, this person decided to be an asshole and cut him off. Mind you, he was driving a Nissan, so I don't understand. And so Mercedes guy is like, bro, like, why did you even do that? And he tries to ignore, the car. But somehow the other person was more angry than him, which I don't understand. You're the one that cut him off, but whatever. So he finds his way in front of the Mercedes and tries to brake check the Mercedes, right? At this point, this guy's like, I'm about to play with you because I have a Mercedes and you have a Nissan. It's not a match. And so he speeds past the Nissan, right? Stops at the light just for the Nissan to come back. Kind of like a show-off moment, right? Oh, but the Nissan driver did not like that very, very much. Now he's angry. So when they get to the red light, the guy gets out his car, coming up to the Mercedes driver's window, talking shit or whatever, right? And the driver's like, bro, fuck you. You got a Nissan. You're driving a Nissan. This is Nissan behavior. And this made him very, very upset. The Nissan driver didn't like that. So guess what? He breaks the Mercedes guy's mirror. At that moment, the Mercedes guy is like, you did not just break my new car that I just got from my hard work. So all he did, y'all, he looked at him. He said, all right, bet. Gets out his phone, he takes a picture of this guy, he gets out his car and acts as if he's angry at the guy, punches the guy, but little did the guy know, he wasn't really looking for a punch for real, he was looking for his hair. He grabbed a handful of that guy's hair and he went home with it. And what did y'all think he did, y'all? What did y'all think he did? The guy's African. I'm gonna let y'all guess. Exactly. He has contacted his family back in his village. He also had the guy's license plate too, so he was able to retrieve the guy's information. Don't ask me how. He didn't say. I don't know. So he finds this guy on social media, him and his whole family. After he did what he did, about a month later, guy gets into a car accident. And his Nissan totaled. Mwah. No car. This African guy is just watching this guy. And so this guy, I guess he gets insurance money, whatever. He gets a new car. A week after he gets that new car, totaled. Mwah. No car again. Every time he gets a new car, he totals it. And the African guy is watching this through social media because unfortunately the Nissan driver, which sounds like Nissan behavior, posts his business all over social media. So he's posting every time he gets a new car and it gets totaled. All the way to the point where his insurance company basically said, listen, we're cutting ties with you, man. He doesn't even know this is happening all because you wanted to be a bully to an African person one day. That's why I be telling y'all, be kind to people. If your relationship with God is not strong, baby, you don't got no protection. So you got no business going out there being mean to people. Anyways, make sure you guys are following me on Instagram and YouTube. Okay, bye. Imagine someone you called your mentor, your spiritual mentor, trying to attack you. I hope y'all got your popcorns ready because this story submission is from none other than the amazing Black Cauldron. She personally submitted this story for me to tell you guys. Boy, it is a doozy, let me tell you. So go ahead and grab your Takis, your snacks, because scary story time. First off, I want to start off by saying I love her. I love her content. She was one of the first creators to put me on her YouTube channel and actually gave me credit and tagged me. I see my videos all the time on YouTube and no tags. She made sure to give me my credit and I love that. Do you want to tell a story?
No.
So she had this person as like her mentor. That specific mentor, she does voodoo, but she was self-initiated into voodoo. And her mentor also tried to get her to do it too, but she did her research and she was like, I don't really want to parts. She was really more so focused on her spiritual side. So a little long story short, the mentor ended up ghosting her. And she was fine with that. However, even though she ghosted her, she was still spiritually monitoring her. Here's an example. So they had a mutual friend, right? For the purpose of this story, we're gonna call the Black Cauldron our friend. And at the time, our friend had just started her lock journey. And y'all know when you first start your lock journey, it got the little ugly stage. And so she would wrap her hair up all the time. And so she's FaceTiming with this mutual friend. And the mutual friend is like, hey, take off your head wrap. I want to see your hair. She does so. And the friend is like, oh my gosh, you started your lock journey. And that's crazy because Mentor just asked me if you locked your hair. And our friend is like, that's weird. How could she have known that? I haven't spoke to her. Like, she ghosted me. So that's one of the examples of her, like, monitoring her, even though they're not speaking, which was later confirmed because she actually ended up being back cool with Mentor again. And Mentor basically ended up confirming that, yeah, like, she was watching her. So fast forward again, they're not speaking again. And this was like the beginning of last year. Our friend is very spiritually inclined. So she's been getting sleep paralysis since she was like 12. So whenever she's dreaming and she's about to have sleep paralysis, like, she knows. And so one night she's falling asleep and she feels it coming. And she's basically like, oh damn, like, here I go with this bullshit again. And that's so real because I feel like that's all of our reaction that gets sleep paralysis. When you feel it coming, you're like, oh my God. So in the middle of her having sleep paralysis, she's still dreaming, but she's aware that she's asleep. And her phone starts ringing and it's Mentor. It's the girl that's been watching her. And the phone answers itself and Mentor starts talking, but she can tell that she's taking a bath, a spiritual bath. Like, she can hear the water in the background and she knows that it's a spiritual bath because Mentor is the one that taught her how to do those baths. She's like, that's kind of weird. And she looks up and there's this huge black figure standing over her. And not only is that black figure standing over her, she's also communicating with it telepathically. And because she's not new to this, right? She's encountered spirits like this before. She's talking her shit, you feel me? And she tries to get herself to wake up, and she does. She wakes up, she sits up, and she's like, oh my God, like, whew. And then she gets up, turns around, and sees her body on the bed still. That's when she realizes, she's like, holy shit, I'm astral projecting right now. And that figure is still there. Remember how I told you she was communicating with it like telepathically? And she can hear this being like, haha, you think you're so slick. You thought you was gonna wake yourself up, right? But he didn't know how strong she was spiritually. And so she jumps back into her body. And this makes him very upset. Because I guess he didn't know that she can do that. So he gets mad, tries to dive into her body and knocks the wind out of her. As soon as that happens, they like teleport to somewhere else. And she said that the place that they teleported to, the best way that she can describe it is like, I don't know if y'all seen like the live action Dr. Seuss movies, like how all the houses are the same. It was exactly like that. And as they're in this place, her and that spirit, like that black figure, are still tussling. And at this point, it takes like the face of a little boy. Not the face, but a form of a little boy. It was like a brown skin, curly hair type little boy, but his eyes were pitch black. And this little boy is choking the fuck out of her. So this little boy has his hands around her throat, choking her. And then he opens his mouth to let his tongue out. And she says it looks just like Venom's tongue. Y'all know the movie Venom? It looks exactly like that. It's long as hell. to stick his tongue, that thing's tongue, down her throat, and she is fighting for her life. As this little boy, y'all, this little boy that's about the same size as her son, is choking her and trying to put his demonic tongue down her throat. And she's praying, like she's trying to pray to her ancestors and all of that because she practices spirituality. And she hears a voice that tell her, you're stronger than him. But she's not feeling very strong at this moment. And so she's like, please just help me. Why can't you guys just help me? And they're like, no, we're not helping you because we know you can get out of this. You need to take your power back. Take your power over him. At that very moment, she grabs his throat. She grabs it with her left hand and then uses her right hand to slap the absolute fuck out of him. And then she slaps him again, but this time with the back of her palm. And I just know that slap came all the way from our ancestors. She starts speaking to him. She's like, you are nothing. You will not get power over me. Whatever you're trying to do, you're not gonna do it. I know that's right. That's what I be telling y'all to do, man. And at that very moment, she jumps out of her bed. Like she jumps out of her sleep and sat up. And she's drenched, like she's sweating. So you know that fight was real. When she jumps up, like she's trying to like get herself together. And immediately she takes her dream journal and starts writing her dreams down. Like everything that just happened, she starts writing it down. And as she's writing, mind you, she had a bathroom in her room and the bathroom light was on. So, you know, there's still some air in the room. And as she's writing, she looks over to the closet and that same dark figure that was standing over her is in her closet. She immediately ran to the closet and turned on the light and that thing disappeared. And at this point, like, she wasn't even scared anymore. She was just ready to fight. And immediately, well, not immediately, but at least after this experience, she spiritually blocked this girl. Because it always seems to be something whenever they stop talking and she's trying to get back into her life or she wants to know something that's going on with our friend's life. So she spiritually blocks this girl because when it came down to it, all of this was happening because she started gaining followers. Our friend had started to tell her stories and do her little content, and she started gaining followers, and that girl didn't like that. Let me tell y'all something. It's never a stranger, bro. Sometimes it do be a stranger, but most of the time, it's always somebody close to you, bro. Anyways, make sure you guys are following me on Instagram. Submit y'all stories to me on Instagram if you have your own story that you would like for me to tell. Make sure you're following me and send it as a voice message. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel so you don't miss a podcast episode. And make sure you click that link tree in my bio and vote for me, your girl, if you love me, if you're an OG and you want to see me, see me. Oh, damn, I can't speak. Oh, I got so excited I couldn't even speak. Anyways, go to the link tree. It's going to say vote for your favorite storyteller. Make sure you guys do a free vote for me so I can be at the Caribbean Music Awards. So if you guys want to start seeing your girl on the big screen, go give me a vote. Thank you. Love you. Bye. Did y'all hear about that lady who went on a voodoo retreat in Haiti and never came back? And now they're telling her son that she passed away? Dana Jackson from Charlotte, North Carolina, felt the need that she wanted to be a mumble. And if you don't know, a mumble is a voodoo priestess. Mumbles are born into voodoo. I want to say that 99% of mumbles were born into it. And when I say born into it, it doesn't have to be like directly from your parents, but it's in your bloodline. Now, when she got there, she was in full communication with her family members through WhatsApp. And then communication just stopped. After that, they received a phone call basically telling them like, hey, I'm sorry, but she passed away. And then got a death certificate in the mail, which, to be quite honest with you, it's Haiti. Anybody could have written that. Anybody could have edited that. That's not what I'm saying it happened, but anyway, so obviously her family isn't buying it. I'm not buying it either. So as a Haitian myself, someone that educates you guys about these kind of things all the time, here's what I think happened. I think it's one of those two things. It's either one, she's very much still alive. And I'm not about to joke with you when I say this, but she's probably abducted by some mermaids. Was probably sacrificed, and now she's with the mermaids. I understand how ridiculous that sounds, but I'm so dead serious. Or number two, she did pass away. However, they did still sacrifice her. Somebody out there owns her soul, and she's probably on somebody's farm working right now, her poor soul. Which brings me back to what I always tell you guys on here. Voodoo is a closed practice. Not everybody can just up and decide that they want to do voodoo. There's so much to it. There's process. There's so much to it to even start seriously. Even if you were born into it, even if it's in your bloodline, there's so much to it. And I don't think people understand how deep it goes, like when it comes to this thing. People learn about spirituality and ancestors and some witchcraft and they think they're experts. Now, I'm not saying that that was her case. But if we learn from Kat, the girl that tried to summon Papa Legba and ended up the same way, not for nothing, I really do feel like she was sacrificed because, well, unless she went down there, she really went down there on her own, which I doubt because how did she know about the retreat? How did she know where to go? Someone is involved here. I don't know. What do y'all think? All my African watchers, my Caribbean watchers, the ones that know how this thing goes, what do y'all think? Maturing is realizing that a lot of people only want to get into voodoo because of the power that comes with it. Scary story time. Now, there's this lady. Her name is Marie Louise. That's what we're gonna call her. Marie Louise had always been fascinated with the voodoo culture, witchcraft, and everything that has to do with it. Now, Marie Louise was from New Orleans, so the idea of voodoo and witchcraft wasn't new to her. That's why she was so attracted to it. She was always hearing about the ancient voodoo practices from the Creole people around. She always liked to hear about the tales of powerful rituals, charms, but the ability to commune with spirits is what intrigued her more than anything. Fortunately, Marie Louise's curiosity wasn't just curiosity because it was tinted also with arrogance. She believed that she could master what everybody else feared, which is voodoo. One day she decides, I'm gonna do something about this. Like, I know I can master this, and the things that I could be able to do with that kind of power, I gotta get into it. And one day she goes online and she's looking everywhere, and she ended up going on Facebook to Facebook groups that practice witchcraft. And in those groups, she meets someone that she thinks can help her. That person is a voodoo priestess herself. Who better to teach her about it, right? So she hits up the voodoo priest and she's like, hey, I want to get into voodoo. Like, can you teach me? Fortunately for her, the voodoo priest was only about an hour away from her. So she took that drive and she went to the voodoo priestess's location. When she gets there, she goes inside and of course you can tell like this is a voodoo priestess's house. The moment she walked in, she smelled the incense, like the shelves were filled with jars, candles. In the back room, there was a rocking chair. And in the rocking chair, she sees this elderly lady just sitting there. Immediately, she already knows that that's the voodoo priestess from the Facebook group. And right when she was about to open her mouth to greet her, the lady says to her, you're here for something. You're seeking something. And with all her chest, Marie Louise says to that lady, yes, I want to learn voodoo and I want to harness its power. The voodoo priestess didn't even reply to her. She just stared at her for a few seconds, walked towards her with an angry look on her face. She says to Marie Louise, voodoo is not a game, child. It's a sacred practice, one that can bring great harm if disrespected. Marie is like, yeah, I know. She goes into her purse and she pulls out mad money. Marie Louise ain't care about what she was talking about. She's trying to learn about voodoo. She basically got this money in front of that lady's face, basically like, are you going to teach me or not? The voodoo priestess just looks at her, smirks a little bit, and takes the money and says, follow me. Now, Marie Louise was excited. She's about to learn about voodoo. But little did she know that voodoo priestess was about to teach her a lesson. So Marie Louise follows her into the back room, right? They get there and the voodoo priest tells her to sit down. She sits down and the voodoo priest asks her, is this what you really want to do? Do you want to learn about voodoo because you're genuinely curious about your ancestry, or do you just want the power? Voodoo priestess is giving her a chance to be upfront and honest. And she says to her, a little bit of both. The voodoo priestess reminds her again that voodoo is not about power. She says to the lady, but it is though. People use voodoo to get their lover. People use voodoo to get money. People use voodoo for all types of power. There's no way you're gonna sit here and tell me that voodoo is not about power. The lady looks at her and says, you have no idea what you're in for right now. And the voodoo priestess is thinking to herself like, this bitch is crazy. This bitch don't even know what she's dealing with. However, this bitch got a lot of money, so I'm gonna take her money. So the lady asks her, what do you want to know about voodoo? And she basically says to the lady, like, I already know most that there is to know, like the basics about voodoo, because I've been interested in this for so long. I just want to know how to be hands-on with it. I want to know how to summon things that are going to get me stuff. Like, what are the right laws to summon if I want money? What are the right laws to summon if I want to get somebody sick? The lady looks at her and she says, have you ever heard of Baron Samedi? And Marie Louise's eyes lit up. She's like, absolutely, I've heard of Baron. I would love to like meet him someday. The voodoo priestess is like, okay, before you do that, there's certain steps that you have to take. You have to know how to do like a basic ritual. And so she shows Mary Louise how to do a basic ritual, how to do offerings, all of that, right? So after they were done doing all that, the voodoo priestess says to her, if you want the real power, Baron Samedi is the one that holds it. However, I cannot help you any further. If you want to meet Baron Samedi, from everything that you've learned today, you can apply some research and do that on your own. And Marie Louise is excited. She's like, oh my God, this is finally happening. And she says, thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you've done. I'm going to message you if I need any help. And the lady's like, yeah, okay. Have a nice one. Not knowing that that lady just set her up so bad. The moment Marie Louise stepped out that lady's house and left in her car, she got blocked. Marie Louise tried to get in contact with that voodoo priestess again eventually, could never find her. Like, she just disappeared, blocked her everywhere. So Marie Louise ended up going to like other people to learn things, people that weren't even really that experienced. She was also going based off of the internet. After a few months of doing witchcraft and voodoo, she felt like she was advanced enough to meet Baron Samedi. And for weeks, Mary learned the rituals. She memorized the chants that she found on the internet, mind you. She collected items to prepare her for this major ritual that is going to change her life. She's about to summon Baron Samedi, and Baron Samedi is going to give her all the power that she needs. Let's see how far delusion can take you. So the night comes, she gets ready, she gets her candles, everything that she needs, she gets it. She performed the ritual in the dead of the night. As she's chanting the final chant, the room grew cold and all the candles went out. For a second, she felt scared, but then she remembers, oh my God, I'm about to have everything I want. And then she passed out. So she passes out, y'all, right? And then she wakes up. And when she wakes up, she looks around and stuff like that. She still, sees everything that was going on. She remembers what she was trying to do, right? And so she gets up. She stands up, she tries to get herself together, right? Only to realize that she's still looking at her body, passed out. For the first time, maybe, a wave of fear came over her. And what made it even worse at that moment is the fact that she was now hearing footsteps behind her. So she turns around, and there he was. Baron was right in front of her. A tall, imposing figure dressed in a black suit and a top hat. And his eyes were staring deep into her soul, y'all. Marie Louise starts shivering. She is shaking in her boots, y'all. And Baron says to her, who dares summon me? Somehow she worked up the courage to answer and tell him, I summon you, Baron Samedi. Then he says to her, you dare summon me without the proper respect? Now this scared her even more because she's confused. She thought she did everything right. Except she got her information from the internet, of course. She says to him, I meant no disrespect. She didn't even get to finish that sentence because she instantly started choking. Like, the spot that she was standing on, she was just stuck there, and then she started choking as if someone was choking her, but no one's touching her. And as she's stuck there, y'all, mad shadows in the room came alive. Like she's watching multiple demons, shadow figures surround her. And all of a sudden, she wasn't in her home anymore. She was in this strange place. It was like a dark room. And she is being tormented by these demons for what felt like years. Now, I'm going to stop the story right now so we can do a little backtrack. So she decides she's going to summon Baron. She thinks she did the right research. She got her information off the internet. And people that don't really know how deep this thing goes, she thought she made the right offering, but she didn't. And she ended up meeting Baron, and Baron wasn't so happy about it. And y'all remember when I told y'all she passed out? She actually passed out. Except she never woke up. Family member found her the next day after she tried to do the ritual, still passed out. Called the ambulance, went to the hospital. Everything seems normal with her, except she's in a coma. She is in this coma for a couple of months. Now, let's get back to the story. So she's in this dark room being tortured by demons for months, just as long as she was in a coma. At this point, y'all, her soul is tired. She's pleading for her life every day. She is regretting every single decision that she has made that has put her through this situation. She had never been a religious person before. For some reason, one day, she decided that she was going to pray because she couldn't take this anymore. Even though she didn't believe in God, but she basically did a prayer like, God, if you're real, please come save me right now. Now, after some time that she did this prayer, because when she was in this room, she couldn't tell if it's day or night. But after some time that she did this prayer, she is tired. She's exhausted. And as she's in this room, she sees this bright light, right? And she turns, she's looking at this bright light. She's trying to see who it is, what it is. She can't figure it out. And this light is getting closer to her. And when it got real close, she realized it was that lady, that lady she originally went to from the Facebook group. The lady is just staring at her. She's immediately pleading with this lady, please help me, please save me. I should have listened to you. I'm so sorry. Please, please, please help me. Now, she wasn't sure, but she felt as though that lady had something to do with the prayer that she did earlier. And as she's pleading with this lady just looks at her and touches her head, and she woke up. She woke up months later after being in a coma in that hospital bed. Doctors were happy. Her family was happy. She was definitely happy. It was like a cry fest, right? And obviously, she rethought her whole life. She wants nothing to do with anything like that. And today's a good day because she woke up. And then obviously, after a very eventful day, nighttime came and she was going to sleep. She took a 5-minute nap, y'all, and woke up screaming to the point where the doctors had to restrain her. And the whole time she's screaming, he's here, he's here, he's here. And she keeps looking at the corner of the room. But obviously nobody can see anything except her. She's absolutely going ballistic. They had to sedate her and everything. And unfortunately, she ended up losing her mind and she never got it back. She was never the same person again. She was in a mental ward. She ended up being in a mental ward. Not a ward, an asylum. For the rest of her life in that asylum, she ended up claiming that there were whispers and he was there. He was following her at all times. And eventually, she passed away mysteriously in her sleep one day. So yeah, that's the story. Moral of the story is stop messing with things that you don't know about. These things go so deep, generations back. Some people, those voodoo priestess and priest, sometimes they were chosen. And not only that, it has to be in your bloodline. I can go on, but there's so much that goes to it. Anyways, make sure you guys are following me on Instagram. It's the same username as TikTok. And make sure you subscribe to me on YouTube and look out for the next podcast episode.